For 40 years, I've been in meetings at the Pentagon where it is openly discussed that every vaccine, child and adult vaccine in America has snake venom in them. And that's why most government officials do not get the actual vaccine. It's very clear why they would choose venoms over all other things to put in a vaccine. Because once they inject that into your bloodstream and it binds to cells in any organ to create a disease, the human body is incapable of detoxing and destroying venom in the human body. Even if you treat the person with anti-venom, it doesn't matter. The venom will wreak havoc on their body, creating chronic illness, disease, and symptoms for an average of 12.7 years.
Yeah, you better. Guess you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, what should have it? Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if I tried it. You're the artist, I'm the mess, and happily be found the new in your hands.
I just have to tell you, Elizabeth, there have been multiple forensic toxicologists who would actually approach me at events, at different speaking engagements during COVID, after I released the fact, this documentary called Watch the Water. And it was all about how they're poisoning us with venom in the water to create COVID symptoms. And this forensic toxicologist named Jancy Lindsay walks right up to me in front of all these other VIP speakers and scientists and doctors and goes, "Oh, Dr. Ardis, it's good to meet you. I'm Dr. Jancy Lindsay. I'm a forensic toxicologist. I just want you to know something. I think all your claims about venom and COVID is bullshit." And I went like this. It's really great to meet you, Dr. Jancy Lindsay. I love that about you. I cannot wait for you to prove me wrong. This is exactly what I said. I can't wait for you to prove me wrong. All these other people here, how do you guys feel about it? And they all went, we all believe them. And I said, okay, great. I guess you haven't seen my research. The lady looks at me over dinner. Everybody's really enamored, excited. She can't believe it didn't put me off. And I'm looking at her and she catches my eye at one point and she goes, Dr. Ardis, I just have to say something. Everybody seems really excited about this venom stuff and having you here, like you've unleashed the genie on the answers for all things COVID. She goes, I just need to say something to you. The only way they would be able to literally poison the whole world with venoms is if they're using venoms as insecticides or pesticides. And I went just like this. Oh, really? And she goes, yes, that's the only way you'd be able to spread it that far and wide. And I went, oh my God, I think you're a little late to the party, Jancy. You should be looking at my research. Not a joke. I sent her all this stuff about Monsanto. Now, what was crazy, she was the lead expert testifying against Monsanto in the lawsuit in 2021 on behalf of those two farmers in California that developed cancer. It was like $100 million lawsuit settlement by Monsanto. She was the lead expert. And she had no idea Monsanto owned the largest library of venom-based pesticides in the entire world. And when I showed her, she was like, holy crap, you might be right. And I said, there ain't no might. They've been spreading this shit around the world like it's candy, man. Yeah, they've been doing this for decades. You just didn't know it. Anyway, she jumped on board real quick. It was funny. I think your stuff is bullshit. That's okay. I love you too. It's great to meet you. One day you'll look at the research and you'll shut your damn mouth and you won't say stupid shit like that anymore. You won't look like a moron to the chiropractor guy who's been reading shit all day, 24 hours a day. Sorry.
Chiropractor guy. Oh my gosh. Wow. You can't disprove that. That's right there. You just have all the reasons. Like it's right there. Oh,
yeah. No. You're like, wait, they don't put venom in drugs and vaccines. I'm like, what? There's a company called Venom Tech in London. They make venoms for drugs, vaccines, cosmetics, and crops. Okay. Are you telling me that they just made up a dumbass lab website for no reason? What? I don't know. What do you think they're doing? This is $1 trillion industry making venoms and turning it into those three things. Trillion. And nobody knew about it till I vomited it on the whole world. And I keep vomiting it on the whole world. The whole world's like, holy shit, they're trying to kill us. Yes.
How did you come across this? Like, how did you discover this in the first place?
Because people nonstop I knew would come up with ways to challenge me. I tried to think of every question somebody would have to try to disprove me. And I was like, well, just so you know how if you go on TikTok, whatever, and somebody just said, hey, go look up whatever. You go look it up a few times on social media, and then all of a sudden you'll get clips every day about that topic. Just type in chemtrails one day. If you've never cared about chemtrails, you're going to get chemtrail videos every day for the next 100 years. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be like, oh man, the algorithm caught up. On my laptop, all I did was search venoms all day long on publishedmed.gov, on nih.gov, on cdc.gov, And I was just doing it everywhere. Lancet, the medical journal in England. And as you're researching all that stuff, all the stuff comes up to the top and it just constantly is getting fed to you. And I'm like, holy crap. They've been using venoms everywhere, but no one on earth has been researching venoms. Like nobody would even think to do that. So anyway, I just decided before I vomited on the world the truth about COVID and the use of venoms that they call viruses around the world. Oh, Elizabeth, I got to tell you something. This is really freaking cool. 4 months ago, this guy in Australia, his name's Laban. He goes, Dr. Ardis, I met you in Colombia, in Medellin, South America, 2 years ago. I have a little podcast I've done for 7 years. The most views I've ever had is 50,000 on one video. But would you come on my podcast, please, for the people in Australia? They love you here, and I'd love to do a show with you. I was like, okay. So we did a 2-hour just run. He would just ask me questions. I would just answer him. Within 1 week, it had 60 million views, this 2-hour long video.
What?
Then he made a little 5-minute clip of me holding up Latin to English dictionaries and showing the audiences what the definition of the word virus really is. It was 5 minutes. I went through 1771 is the oldest textbook I have, Latin English dictionary, actual books, all the way till now, 2025. It's a 5-minute reel. That one 5-minute reel had 110 million views. Last week it hits 110 million views, and the Australian government has now blocked access to that video. And when you click on it, this black window comes up and it says, this video is a threat to the public safety of all people in Australia. It is permanently banned. No one can access it. Now, what's crazy is all I did was show definitions in a book, just Latin English dictionaries for 400 years. The word virus, Elizabeth, in every Latin English dictionary, the word virus only means poison, comma, especially of snake's venom, or it just means venom. So I'm just showing that all the way to 2025. Look, a virus is not what they tell you it is. It is actually, you're being poisoned with venom from a snake. That's all it is. And they have known this for 400 years, and they lie to you and tell you it's something replicating in your cells, making you sick that you can cough on other people. No, it isn't. They are literally spreading venoms around the world and making you all sick and calling it a virus, which is not an English word. It's only a Latin word. Well, that pissed off Australia. So now they've banned the whole video. And I find it funny. All I was doing was showing the definitions of it. I'll show you. Do you want to see it? It's pretty crazy.
Let's go. Let's see if we can get a ban in the US.
I'm like, okay, people, y'all are crazy.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let me just show you this one. So I'll pull up this other one. This one's really funny to me. I like this one. It's a short little presentation I decided to do. This is the title, Do Viruses Exist? And I will play it for you. So it's bigger. So what is a virus? These are Latin to English dictionaries dating back to 1771. I have the copyright date on all of them there. Just this small sample. I have 40 of these in my house.
Okay.
1771 just happens to be the oldest. And Elizabeth, that's 4 centuries ago. Okay. Wow. So I just go into all of them and show the copyright date. Look at the definition of the word virus in English. It means a poison or a venom from 1771. You go to 1811. Virus means poison or venom. You go to 1880. This gets a little bit longer. Now let's go to 1959. A slimy liquid or slime or a poison, especially of snake's venom. Okay, great. Is that what you're told a virus is? When you get the flu virus, do they tell you have snake venom inside of you? Here's 1963. Poison, especially of snake's venom or any harsh taste or smell. Really? Does anybody say that to you when you have the flu? Oh, are you tasting something gross? No, that's not what they say. You've got symptoms of something. Yeah, snake venom poisoning. Then you get to 2007. The word virus still means poison, especially of snake's venom. Okay, great. 2007. The virus, Latin word, means in English venom, or it means a slime, stench, pungency, or saltiness. Are any of those definitions what you've ever been told a virus is ever in your whole life? No.
Wow.
So anyway, this is what I did with that guy. Anyway, it got him punished. And then I go to the English to Latin dictionary side because virus is virus is a Latin word.
Okay. Yes.
Not an English word. So virus doesn't exist in the English to Latin side of these dictionaries, but the word venom does. Look what the Latin word for venom is in English. Venom means virus. That's all it means. I'm like, oh man, we've all been lied to. And then I show this. Those who can't change their minds can't change anything. George Bernard Shaw. Anyway, we've all been lied to, people. Let it go.
That's crazy.
So this is what I do all day long is just show people, you guys think you know something. You don't know shit. All right, here you go. You're all being lied to. We're all being poisoned intentionally with venoms, particularly that they call viruses. A virus is nothing more than venom.
So since we were children, then the common cold is considered a virus. So that's a venom. That's probably some sort of venom that they've.
Any virus is a venom.
So
and I can show you every virus. They break down its molecular structure.
Yeah.
Every virus has on it a singular protein called a spike protein.
Yeah.
That 100% of all medical research studies say is analogous, identical to snake venom proteins.
So
then those words in English, identical to snake venom. Yeah, they're just poisoning you with venoms and calling it a virus.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. So they're creating these things and then they're releasing them off and poisoning. I think COVID for sure was water. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But what about the common cold? What about the flu? What about this other? Is it always water, you think, that the transmission of this? What about 5G or something? Can it travel on 5G waves?
No, they can actually simulate the frequency vibration of venom in sound waves, radio waves, and your cells will react like they're being poisoned with venom. But there is no venom in the air. It's just they're making your cells react to feel sick like you have been injected with venom. Yes.
So how come it affects some people and not others?
That's a great question. So who was not affected by COVID-19?
I mean, okay, we're going to go there. Yeah.
No, who were the only people that were actually not affected by COVID?
You said smokers, right?
Smokers were the only people that appeared immune to COVID. Yeah, because they had nicotine in their body. Anybody who eats high-density vegetable diets with nightshade vegetables will be the least impacted by viruses, physically, venoms, because all the venoms target nicotine receptors, which is why they're trying to ban nicotine worldwide in favor of what? Okay, so speaking of flu vaccines. All right, so flu vaccines are the supposed savior from you not dying or feeling sick from the flu every year, right? There's an annual flu virus venom season. So how would they make everybody in America sick every year? They tell you in August to start getting what?
Your flu vaccine.
Flu vaccines. Guess what they could have in flu vaccines? Venoms are manufactured into drugs and vaccines. So how do you know they're not putting venoms in the vaccines to make people sick? To keep the narrative going.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know it. So you don't know this, but I'm working with a few other people to develop. I've already found PhDs who already have years of study and lab work in identifying, isolating venoms, snake venoms particularly. And I'm going to be building a lab in the next year or two that's going to hold all pharmaceutical companies accountable who create any vaccine on Earth. And every lot and batch I am moving to make sure we have a third-party independent test them all for venoms. And when I start finding them, we're going to be suing every one of those damn asshole companies who have been lying to all of us about what's on their ingredient deck. Oh, yeah, I'm going to hold you all accountable, you mother effers. I've had people in the Pentagon walk up to me at different shows, pull me backstage from conferences and go, Dr. Ardis, I saw your Watch the Water documentary where you said there is snake venom in the COVID-19 vaccines. I just want to tell you how incredible it is to meet you because no one's been brave enough to make that public. I have been in the Pentagon for 40 years. I've been in meetings at the Pentagon where it is openly discussed that every vaccine, child and adult vaccine in America has snake venom in them. And that's why most government officials do not get the actual vaccines or their families.
So they know.
For 40 years, we have known that they put venom in most of the vaccines for all children and adults. Now, I can explain also, before I get my lab and prove it all to you, I can tell you exactly why they would use venom as vaccines, why they would do it. It's super easy. Once you know why they do it and why they would never tell you, it's very clear why they would choose venoms over all other things to put in a vaccine. Because once they inject that into your bloodstream and it binds to cells in any organ to create a disease, the human body is incapable of detoxing and destroying venom in the human body. For an average, they publish, the venom will stay inside of you. Even if you treat the person with anti-venom, it doesn't matter. The venom will wreak havoc on their body, creating chronic illness, disease, and symptoms for an average of 12.7 years. Now, if that is the case, Elisabeth,
what?
That gives you 12.7 years on average after any vaccine is introduced. If it has venom in there, that kid will be sick with asthma if the venom gets into their lungs or bronchial tubes, and they will now be able to prescribe you what? At any point in the next 12 years, the parents are going to be like, this kid can't breathe. Yeah, let's put him on albuterol inhaler and nebulizers. Oh, yeah, for life now, they're going to tell you. Now, they've got you hooked on a drug that's going to be used to try to minimize your symptoms they created that your body cannot eliminate on its own without doing what I wrote in my book, How to Detox All Venoms Out of the Human Body. That's why I wrote the book. It doesn't matter what venoms are in your body right now. I can tell you how to detox all of them. That's why I wrote the book. So there's a way to do it naturally and speed up the process so you don't need to be on drugs anymore. Now, if those drugs, those venoms in the vaccine got into your spleen, your patient would now develop lupus and rosacea. And now you're going to sell them prednisone, methotrexate, and Plaquenil for the rest of their life, and you're going to call it an autoimmune disease. No.
Yeah.
These people are not going to want to suffer for 12.7 years naturally while their body detoxes venom. No, they're going to go to their medical doctor. They're going to have rashes. Psoriasis is also caused by snake venom, by the way. And they're going to go on and get put on Humira and other drugs for the rest of their life and being told it's an autoimmune disease you inherited. No, they injected you with something they know your body cannot destroy on its own for 12 years. And in that 12 years, they're banking the majority of you will end up in a hospital, in a medical doctor's office, and you'll be prescribed drugs that benefit that same industry that introduced the poison in the first place.
So what percentage of people, let's just say in America, that have autoimmune disease, do you think is caused from venom?
If anybody who's got an autoimmune disease that was developed within a year of any singular vaccine, including HPV vaccine, y'all might want to look at that one. Autoimmune diseases like fibromyalgia, Sjogren's, lupus, juvenile diabetes. If you develop those things within a year of getting your Gardasil shot, you might want to start paying attention. So look at your vaccine schedules, children, adults. I mean, it's pretty disgusting, but even SIDS in babies. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. You put your baby to sleep, you go to wake them up, and they're not breathing, they're dead in the crib. That happens 90% of the time within 48 hours of a specific childhood vaccine. Don't tell me that correlation does not equal causation. Yes, it does. In every other scenario in life, it's called the cause and effect scenario. You injected a poison. 2 days later, it can't breathe and dies in its sleep. And yes, they know these venoms target nicotine receptors in the spinal column of the brain that suppress your baby's ability to contract its diaphragm while it's sleeping and its heart to beat, exactly what COVID-19 did.
Wow. I bet all of those, because that doesn't even make sense. Sudden infant death syndrome.
Oh, and then COVID-19 vaccines get introduced, and all of a sudden now there's a new acronym, SADS, Sudden Adult Death Syndrome.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard that one. Really? That's what they're calling it?
Oh, yeah. So we've already gathered all the data from CMS.gov, Thomas Renz and his team, and a whistleblower from the CMS during COVID. We got them to pull from multiple states around the country all the CMS data on senior citizens on Medicare who received the COVID-19 vaccines within 2 days of the second shot to be considered fully vaccinated is when 90% of all the people who died after getting the COVID-19 vaccines. That is a sudden adult death. And they called that SADS. Anyway, unfortunately, these poisons are laced in these vaccines.
So how deeply do you think that this goes within like the people that we elect as our leaders, right? Do you think that they know about this or they find out about it when they get into office? How high up in like in my mind, I think there's like 100 families that are controlling this whole entire globe. Okay. And I think it's just all manipulation, like puppeteering, basically. All this is puppeteering. So I don't even think even these guys even know what's happening. I think it's all being controlled here. So how deeply rooted into this is this, how can we fix this? Like, what are the solutions? What do we do?
Yeah, very good. All right. So how are elected officials and government officials controlled? How are they controlled? So, for example, in America, it's obvious that a 4-year term president doesn't control America. They're only given the opportunity to be there for 4 years and they got to leave. And they're going to replace it with somebody else. Those people are not in charge. Okay. No. So how do you control these people who are in office? How are they controlled? Do you know the term? All right, so there's an industry, a specific industry that's totally legal. There's nothing illegal about it. It's called the lobbying industry. Do you know what lobbying dollars by definition is? By definition. Just look up what a lobbying dollar is by definition. It is a legal bribe to an elected official or government official to make laws and regulations that favor your industry. So, who's the largest lobbying industry in America? Elisabeth Carson.
Pharma.
Big Pharma by far. So let's give you some perspective here. Okay. Anybody can go look this up and Google it. Dr. Ardis and Elisabeth Carson aren't just yapping here and making up shit. Go look it up. In 2025, what was the largest lobbying industry in America? The pharmaceutical industry. How much money did Big Pharma legally give bribes into the pockets of all your elected officials last year in America? We're talking county seat members, city mayors, state governors, federal elected officials, senators, congressmen, your president. Okay, look, the number is $383 million in 12 months was paid to them from that one industry alone. And it is the number one paid out lobbying industry last year. For perspective, everybody watching, I've listened to enough crap said in the mainstream media and social media that the Jews are running this country and AIPAC is controlling our elected officials in Washington, D.C. Go look up what AIPAC donated in 2025, and you tell me how in the hell would they be controlling everyone in the government. Go look up what the amount is compared to Big Pharma. Big Pharma gave $383 million last year to your elected officials. In America alone, AIPAC paid out $3 million, 1/100th of what Big Pharma did last year. So don't tell me they control this world. The pharmaceutical giants of this world control all governments of the world. And that is why, in unison, 200 countries today are actively banning nicotine and tobacco products from all their countries because the government officials who make decisions, because they're being paid to, that favor their industry, which is Big Pharma, knows that nicotine and tobacco, because of yours truly and individuals like you, Elisabeth Carson, who are helping get the word out that nicotine and tobacco, those who used it never needed a COVID-19 vaccine ever. And the fourth most revenuing product for all of Big Pharma worldwide is, you guessed it, vaccines. So if you knew that the majority of all vaccines worldwide were to address viral infections like HIV, rabies, COVID, measles, mumps, rubella, polio, yellow fever, malaria, which is a parasite. Let's go to smallpox, chickenpox, shingles. These are the viruses, the viral vaccines you're given. Did you know all viruses are blocked by nicotine and tobacco? So now you will understand why 200 countries worldwide are being bribed to ban nicotine and tobacco products from over the counter, because they've got 10 more pandemics that are all viruses they have already named that will be coming up here in the future. And if you don't know what that list is, go look up Gavi's website, Bill and Melinda Gates Vaccine Initiative. They've named what the next 10 viral pandemics will be. Every one of them will have a viral vaccine that you don't need, because nicotine over the counter or tobacco in the plant would prevent you from getting sick ever. And it stands in the way. This narrative, the reason why this blows up all over the place, Elisabeth, when you and I do these interviews, is because this truth stands in the way of them profiting off of their other higher revenuing products, which their number one revenuing product is cancer. Well, did you know every venom on earth causes cancer? Did you know that?
Really?
And did you know that the National Cancer Institute in 1956 paid Dr. Stanley Cohen and his buddy Rita to do a research study? Now, get this. The National Cancer Institute, go look up their mission statement from the 1920s when they were founded. Go look up what their mission statement is. They said they're going to collect donations and fund research to rid the world of cancer, cure the world of cancer. 30 years later, in 1956, the same group gives money to two scientists and said, we are going to supply you with snake venom phosphodiesterase, and we want you to inject it into birds and mammals, and we want to see how fast you can create cancer. And they figure out that within 72 hours, they can grow a brain tumor called a glioblastoma in less than 72 hours with snake venom. And then they published that this invisible side effect to create brain tumors with venom is called, they named it, nerve growth factor. You present any venom to the brain of an animal or mammal or human or their spinal column or nerve, it will rapidly start growing a mass, a tumor, a brain tumor called glioblastomas. Now, Elizabeth, every oncologist on earth knows and uses the phrase nerve growth factor in relationship to every patient with any neurological cancer ever. Today, they still use it. But that phrase had never even been created except to describe the side effect of venom that Dr. Stanley Cohen said in 1956 was an invisible side effect of snake venom in the presence of brain matter. Okay, great. Then in 1961, the National Cancer Institute again gives them more money and goes, okay, now that you proved you could create brain tumors in 72 hours with venom, remember, the National Cancer Institute said, we're here to receive donations to rid the world of cancer. Why are they funding someone to create cancer more rapidly? Turbo cancers. Y'all heard this phrase? 1961, they're the same two guys or girl, a guy and girl, Stanley Cohen and Rita, are actually given snake venom phosphodiesterase again. They're given mammals, and they want to know not just brain matter and spinal cords. If we expose snake venom to their pancreas, kidneys, liver, lungs, heart, will they develop cancer in all of those tissues too? And they do. And they call this invisible side effect within 72 hours to create cancer in any tissue of the human body with venoms. They describe it as this invisible side effect, epidermal growth factor, EGF. So now, Elizabeth, nerve growth factor and epidermal growth factor are two descriptive terms every oncologist in the world uses to describe how fast a cancer is growing inside of a person's body, depending on what organ the cancer is growing in. And these are side effects, descriptive terms of how snake venom interacts in the human body to create cancer. Now, check this out, Elizabeth. That's in 1956 and 1961.
Mm-hmm.
Then 30 years later in 1986, two people get the Nobel Prize in Medicine for discovering that snake venom causes turbo cancers to form. And that was Dr. Stanley Cohen and Rita. Guess who invented the technology inside the COVID-19 vaccines that you call and everyone else calls mRNA technology that is actually gene therapy? Guess who invented what's actually called DNA plasmids that was in all of the mRNA vaccines for COVID for the first time in history? Guess who invented that technology? Dr. Stanley Cohen, who was paid by the National Cancer Institute to figure out if snake venom would cause rapid-forming turbo cancers of the brain called glioblastomas within 72 hours, and he confirmed it did. Then he figured out it would create cancer in any other organ in 1961, and then they gave him the Nobel Prize in Medicine. And to this day, you will still hear every cancer is on the rise since these COVID-19 vaccines were introduced, and they have this new term. Turbo cancers are forming and killing people, even younger people, faster than ever before. Yes, you injected the technology that actually makes the body make snake venom in the human body to create these cancers that eventually will kill you even faster. Thank you, National Cancer Institute. Thank you for finding ways to create more cancer you can profit off of and poison people of and do protocols on in your hospitals to poison them with radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery and make profiting off of your horrific discoveries that you funded.
Freaking A. I have so many things to say. It's like I was keeping tabs. First, let me just point out something that hit me as soon as you said it, which is the pharmaceutical company basically bribed politicians. You said upwards of 383
million last year. Go look it
up. Okay. So how many people are in the US on average, right? Isn't it about 400,000, like about 380 million people in the US alone?
Right now it's 340 million. It's more than $1 per person.
Okay. That's $1 million per, like we could solve poverty. Like this is just, okay. First of all, let me throw it out there. Guys, do you see how evil these people are? Like literally overnight could solve poverty and put everybody just, okay. So there was that. So now my question is, okay, so you know how we have like the big, like, hits of like, okay, the AIDS pandemic, like now where did it go? You know what I'm saying? Is it all of a sudden poof gone? What happened to it? Right?
No. Do you know that AIDS drugs were actually one of the top 10 drugs sold worldwide last year?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it hadn't gone away. It's just not here. It's mostly in Africa. They like poisoning all the people in Africa more than anybody else because they're more naive and uneducated. That's all. They just like poisoning them and killing them. They want their resources, kind of like what we did in America. When, all the Spaniards and Europeans came over and just wiped out all the Indians, they just murdered them, raped them, killed them, and took their lands. This is what they're going to do with Africa, except they're going to use vaccines and drugs and
Wasn't
false
that what
flags
Fauci did?
diseases like
Didn't
AIDS.
Fauci go over there and then use remdesivir, right? Like as an Ebola to help Ebola, but Ebola ended up being worse or better than what the vaccine was doing to people.
2019, the year before COVID, a 4-region area of Africa held an experimental drug trial just in Africa, 4 parts of Africa. And they would PCR test all the females to see which ones were positive for Ebola. And then they would put them on one of 4 drugs, including remdesivir. And just for context here, this is a year-long study. Remdesivir only lasted in the trial for 6 months. And then the safety board pulled remdesivir because Ebola, if you get the infection, supposedly the data set is 50% of all people with Ebola will die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 53% of everybody given remdesivir died, which is more than what Ebola kills. So it was the only drug that had a higher death rate than the disease they were treating. So it was pulled from the trial. And guess who funded that trial? Dr. Anthony Fauci. And then that was in August of 2009 when he's notified remdesivir is too deadly and toxic to continue here in Africa. You know what was even more disgusting about that trial? What I found the most disgusting? If they PCR tested an African woman who PCR tested positive for Ebola, and they PCR tested the baby, and the baby tested negative, all babies younger than 7 days old, less than 7 days old, who tested negative for Ebola were automatically given the remdesivir protocol as if they did test positive for Ebola. And those babies died too, which I found the most disgusting.
But why would they do that?
Because they're murdering for profit assholes. That's why.
So they knew that these babies were going to die. So they just continued. Did they not want witnesses or something? Like what? I'm confused as to what is the point of them just killing like babies though.
And the period was only 15 days of treatment. So if they were dying, 53% of everybody given remdesivir died by day 15. You would have known that 6 months later when they pulled the drug. It's just the safety board reviewed 6 months later the trial data. Well, how many babies died within 6 months of giving 15 days of remdesivir? It's really, really disgusting.
Oh my God. Okay. Shifting gears really quick. So I wanted to talk to you about parasites because there was some recent research that I, read, and then I talked to a couple people that I know, and they told me what the research said, which was basically that diabetes is basically because you have a parasite in your pancreas, and you could literally get rid of diabetes if you were just, did a parasite cleanse.
All right, so let's just set the stage for diabetes here. This is a great question. All right, so diabetes right now in America and around the world, there's 500 million diabetics. Okay. After COVID ended May 23rd, May 2023, Joe Biden says there's no more an emergency of COVID, makes the pandemic go away. The very next month, the World Health Organization publishes that so many people were created as new diabetics during COVID that they had the World Health Organization statisticians figure out what's going to be the exponential growth rate of diabetics between now and 2050. They publish right now there's 500 million diabetics. By the year 2050, there will be 1.3 billion of the 8 billion people on the earth will be diabetic. Now, okay, so let's just stay there. This is a big deal. Did you know, Elizabeth, 95% of all diabetics worldwide are curable? They're called type 2 diabetics, and all of them are curable. That is a known fact. You can cure everybody with type 2 diabetes. It's just type 1, which makes it 5%, which means out of the 500 million right now, 50 million would be 10%. That means 25 million would be 5%. That means only 25 million of that 500 million can't be cured right now because they're type 1 diabetics. But that means 475 million people worldwide can be cured of diabetes. Okay, so just stay there. Just know you can all be cured. But man, a buttload of people that work at Eli Lilly are making a crap ton of money owning the monopoly on insulin drugs, metformin, glucophage, Ozempic, and Wegovy, now touted as diabetes drugs, just so you know, which is the number 2 revenuing drug last year in the whole world, Ozempic, just so you know, which is ridiculous. Just so y'all know at home, none of y'all have diabetes because you're deficient in a venom of a lizard called the Gila monster lizard's venom. That's what's in Ozempic and Wegovy. Just so you know, you do not have diabetes because you're deficient in a venom of a lizard that is deadly and toxic. Okay, so that's all it's in there. There's no GLP-1 in there at all. It's only Exendin-4, EXENDIN-4, which in 1956 was discovered in the venom of the Gila monster lizard. I have the textbooks from the pharmaceutical companies from 1956 when they discovered this venom and wanted to turn it to a drug, which was introduced to America, thank you, FDA, in 2017. So anyway, there you go. Now you know what that is. So diabetes, you mentioned parasites.
Yeah.
Every American medical doctor and nurse who leaves nursing school, medical school in America and Canada are told parasites do not exist in America.
I'm sorry.
For 4 straight years, you were totally bamboozled, lied to. Parasites don't exist in America. All right. So
why would anyone even believe that? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't be dumb enough to believe that. Okay, but if you do believe that, you're pretty dumb. I'm really sorry. Okay. All right. So you gotta be dumb because every dog, cat born in America is treated for what?
Come
Parasites called heartworms. Come on, man. Can you really believe what is there a visible force field around America that kills and zaps all the parasites in the world? Come on, man. You guys are crazy.
Ridiculous.
America's good, but it ain't that good. All right. If you go to the CDC's website, Elisabeth Carson, right now, go to the cdc.gov's website, cdc.gov, go to the search tab and type in the word parasites and hit enter and read the article on the CDC's website. It says right now, 90 million Americans, that's a quarter of you, have parasites called protozoa that are causing chronic illness and disease in America. Okay.
He says that. Okay.
How is it possible that the CDC knows that a quarter of all Americans have parasites causing disease like cancer and diabetes, but you that paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to med school were given Scantron tests for 4 years that actually included this question: true or false, parasites exist in America? And if you answered true, you would have been flagged. You would have been deducted points. You would have failed the test. So instead, you had to,
crazy.
You had to dumb yourself down and go, no, parasites don't exist here, so I can pass this damn test and get my license. Okay, just so y'all know, it's so absurd. Do you know what the CDC says on that parasites website? What it says in that article? It says the number one way Americans get parasites is from your drinking water. Watch the water, people. I told y'all. Watch the water. That's how they poison you, infect you. They're not getting rid of parasites. This is why we educate people on the importance of gravity filters, distilling your water, and then structuring your water. We did a Healing for the Ages conference 4 years ago. It was 3 days of why it's so important to filter your water. And this was one of the things we wanted to make sure you knew.
Phew. So they're just, okay. So
okay, let's go back to diabetes. Hold on. Your pancreas,
Okay.
pancreas produces insulin. So I just have to say, it is very true. Many, many diabetics solely have diabetes because of parasites in their pancreas. However, COVID-19, long COVID, and COVID-19 vaccine injury have created an exponential rate of increase in diabetes being diagnosed in people who did not have it before COVID. What was COVID? Nothing but 36 different animal venoms being used in gene therapy called DNA plasmids, or you were just exposed to them. For example, in the Johnson & Johnson shot, they just injected you with what were called spike proteins. Spike proteins is like a cover word for snake proteins. All venom are proteins. So they just introduced these. Did you know that every beta cell in the pancreas, Elisabeth Carson, every beta cell produces insulin in the pancreas? Do you know that every beta cell has a little switch on it that turns it on to secrete insulin whenever it detects blood sugar in your blood, or shuts it off so it doesn't know if sugar is present and stops producing insulin? Do you know what that switch is called? It's a receptor. It's called alpha-7 nicotine receptor. And nicotine turns it on to produce insulin. So when the venoms of COVID were introduced via vaccine, via air, water, food, it didn't matter how you got it, long COVID included, if that venom landed in your pancreas and bound to a beta cell, that beta cell now switches off and no longer produces insulin. So venoms can create, COVID can create diabetes, parasites can create diabetes. There are 2 minerals all diabetics are deficient in, and your beta cells require these 2 minerals to produce insulin, or it can't even make it. And those two minerals are called they're called chromium and vanadium. So there's lots of people that need to be educated on that. I just actually created a product called Hydrate Complete, and it's got chromium and vanadium in it for that one specific reason. So it's to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of this trace minerals every single day, or else diabetics have no chance to overcome it.
Okay. So I will say that I had COVID. I thought I was going to die. It was like day 13. I still had a fever. I was like 104 for like 13 days straight. I couldn't eat. I was freaking out because I was the sickest I've ever been in my life. And I still didn't go to the hospital because thank God I didn't, because they probably would have put me on a vent and then I for sure would have died. So I just stayed and I suffered. Thank God. Day 14.
Hold on. Lots of people talk about this vent, by the way, in the hospital. Remdesivir killed 53% of all people by itself without a vent in Africa. That's the number one killer. It wasn't the vents. The vents added to the stress in the lungs, but remdesivir was the number one killer.
So that's what they were giving people as soon as they got to the hospitals?
Yes.
Wait, what did they stop?
Yeah, they put them on remdesivir. It would shut down their kidneys within 24 hours. Their lungs would fill with fluid. Then they went on a ventilator. That's how they did this. And then they would force air into the lungs that are full of water now, and it would blow open their lung cells, and they would die within 9 days.
I was very good friends with a state senator. Rest in peace, Senator Morris Hood. He was the senator that resided over Detroit, and he caught COVID, went to the hospital. They did something. He was on a vent. They took him off the vent, went home, got sick 5 days later, went back to the hospital, died the day that he was there. That was probably remdesivir.
Remdesivir was the immediate treatment. They were only allowed to give remdesivir as an antiviral drug to all those that tested positive, period.
Oh my God. And they did it everywhere, like everywhere in the US, like all states, all hospitals.
Oh, this gets better, Elizabeth. America was the only country to use remdesivir from January 2020 to the end of October of 2020. And then in the beginning of November, it was allowed to be exported to other countries. And the first country it went to was Brazil. Now, stay with me. No country had more deaths from COVID-19 in the whole world than America the whole time, but especially in the first year. But America was the only drug doing remdesivir. Do you know to this day, America has twice as high the amount of deaths as the number 2 country in the world from COVID-19? And do you know what country is number 2? I just mentioned it. Would you like to guess what number 2 death total country was from COVID-19? It was America. More people died here. America sucked more than any other country keeping their citizens alive during COVID. America, the land of the free and the most expensive healthcare in the world, you sucked at saving the lives of people than any other country in the whole world. Somalia did better than America. Bulgaria did better than America. Every other country did better than America. Uruguay did better than America. Do you know what the second most deadly country was for COVID-19? Brazil. And guess who got remdesivir next? Brazil did. You just got to follow the numbers. They poisoned you to death and they killed you for profit. Oh, and in America, Medicare, Elisabeth Carson, gave a bribe to every hospital in America that if it's a Medicare-aged patient, if you will give remdesivir for 10 days to that patient, which was the only drug they were allowed to use anyway during COVID, or the doctor would lose their license. If you will give them remdesivir and code it to Medicare, that you've done it for 10 days to a Medicare-aged patient, we will give you a 20% add-on bonus to the entire patient's stay bill. And they did that the whole time during COVID. It was a murder for profit scheme. And medical doctors and nurses around the country, you help to murder people for profit for your boards. And most of your board members, you should know it at every hospital, are bankers. You should go look at the board members that run your facility.
I read that.
The majority of them are bankers. And did you know, a lot of people like to think the bankers rule America? Okay. Do you know, I actually looked it up the other day. Google it. How many physical bank buildings are in America? Do you know there's like multiples more of hospital buildings than there are banks in America? There are like 10 times more hospitals than there are bank buildings in America. That should disgust you. So where's more money going? More money goes in and out of hospitals than banks all day long in America. This is why bankers make up the boards of all of these massive profiteering hospital systems. It's amazing. Nothing is more profitable than healthcare in America out of the fear of death, that and religion.
Yep, I agree. And just, you can't even hide. Like, this stuff is out there at this point. Like, what are people doing? Just choosing to still? I can't. I'm
You've all
sorry.
been conditioned to trust the white coat since the Flexner Report came out in 1910, which the Carnegie Foundation and the Rockefellers paid to have done, which was to rewrite the entire curriculum of Canada's and America's medical schools. It's called the Flexner Report, written by Abraham Flexner, and that was funded by Carnegie Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation. And they literally wiped out all nutrition training and education in all medical schools. They took out homeopathy. They made sure chiropractic was banned and then threatened, and people were imprisoned. Literally, every chiropractor was thrown in prison and jail for the next 40 years, literally for the next 40 years for practicing medicine without a license after the Flexner Report came out because they were curing conditions without drugs.
What year was that?
Oh, from 1920s up through the 1970s. In fact, it wasn't until Wilkes, Dr. Wilkes, a chiropractor, took the American Medical Association all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in the chiropractic's favor that they stopped imprisoning chiropractors for practicing medicine without a license. That's the assholes we're dealing with. They believe they are all powerful, all knowing, and they're going to dictate life and health for you. And they've literally tried to destroy everybody else. And they have. They've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Except for you and I, we just keep on going regardless. God be willing, we'll just continue to spread the word, spread the truth to all of you.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's like I had COVID so bad, but I don't feel like I have long COVID symptoms. I don't have any of these long lasting issues. But why? Not even that I knew that COVID was a venom that had whatever. I do parasite cleanses. I drink distilled water. You know what I'm saying? I clean my everything. Like I don't subscribe to those systems that make you drink the tap water and do all boil your water even with pasta. Like I use distilled water to boil my pasta and my rice and everything else. It's like I probably, unknowingly just healed myself naturally from that because I definitely had COVID bad. And I just, hearing all of this stuff, I just wonder why I don't have these symptoms. Like, I'm good.
I actually have had NFL athletes walk up to me at different events, Hall of Famers even, and ask me, why does every member of my family have gotten COVID multiple times and been in hospitals? How come me, my wife, my kids, we didn't get it? We never got it once. Not a joke. I've looked at multiple of them in their faces, and I went just like this. I know something about you without you even telling me. What's that? Do you get your water from a well?
Oh.
100% of them had said, yeah, what does that have to do with anything? And I'd go,
wow,
you're about to learn. Just wait for my documentary coming out called Watch the Water. You'll see. And all of a sudden, everything went off. And then I go, hold on. Tell me, though, first, do the family members that have gotten COVID multiple times, do they have water supplied to them by their county municipality? Yes, they all do. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, stay on the well. You're going to be better. So, anyway, it's just and then in 2007, just so everybody knows, in 2007 is a document that the government of the United States produced. It's called Water and Terrorism. And in the document, they actually have tables and sections of various deadly toxic agents that can be added to our water systems to subdue people downstream in any village, city, county, you name it. They list them. And in one of the tables, they list all the animal venoms that can be put in the water.
This is insane. Are we?
2007. Sorry.
Are we living inside of like a cartoon? I'm so good. This is just.
Yes, you are.
I cannot.
Except it's real life. It's a real life Roger Rabbit cartoon. Yeah.
What's going on?
That's pretty crazy.
Really?
Yes, really.
Oh man. I'm sorry. This is almost comical to me because it's just absolutely so ridiculous.
And it's amazing because it will list the names of the animals and then it says defense toxins. Do you know what defense toxins are in these animals? It's called venoms, dummy. So anyway, you can walk through all the creatures and they're all the ones you found in COVID-19 in every DNA lab around the world. Every patient, long COVID, acute COVID, tested in 5 different countries around the world, their blood, urine, and feces while sick with COVID, PCR tested positive for COVID, was submitted to a DNA lab, blood, urine, feces. 100% of the samples had a combined 36 different animal venoms in every one of those tissues, creating the symptoms you called COVID and long COVID.
I just can't.
And in my book called Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies on page 104 and 105, in case you're wondering what the evidence suggests, in case any of you are like, maybe we don't want to trust DNA evidence anymore. Okay, great. Don't. All right. I show you the DNA reports from these 5 different labs in 5 different countries, and they show you the venom proteins by name and every animal they come from. And then I'd like to ask you, did you get bit by 36 different animals that have venom in them during COVID to make you lose your taste and smell and can't breathe and feel like you're going to die? Did you get bit by anything? And what's amazing, even more amazing, not a single one of these DNA labs published any proteins, venoms included, that were found in every blood, urine, and feces sample. Not a single bat gene DNA evidence of any kind was ever produced. Yet you were told nonstop a bat coughed in China and made the whole world sick. Pretty absurd.
It's all lies. I know it's all lies. It's all just absolutely ridiculous. Let me just tell you this quick story before we talk about something cool that we're doing together. So my brother has been sick my whole entire life. He needed a kidney transplant. Both his kidneys failed. So I go over there and I'm watching him eat this big bowl of pasta and like this tiny glass of water. And I'm like, don't you think that you should be eating like a salad or something, you know, a little bit different than a big bowl of pasta? And I'm like, and I think that you need, like, he was drinking like fruit juice or something. I'm like, drink some water. And then my mom said, oh, well, the doctor said that this is really good for him and that he shouldn't drink water, just little sips of water here and there. Why would they say that? What?
So now sunlight is bad for you. Water's bad for you. The 2 main substances that make all organisms on life sustained with energy.
I was like, I can't even stand here. It's like, I gotta go. This is, but and then these people believe this, and there's some sort of weird conditioning. I think they got some mind control agent in something that they're putting out there too, because just the ridiculousness of like the conditioning where people can't see when it's literally right in front of them. There has to be some sort of something that's affecting our brains, you know?
Yeah. All right. So very, very true. So let me just give you an example of how it is. Unfortunately, many specialists called medical doctors in their various field, even board certifications, how you've all been lied to, like literally lied to, and then tested to make sure you can repeat the lies confidently to your patients forevermore. All right. So tobacco, the plant, is a part of what's called the nightshade vegetable plant family. All right. So nicotine is just one nutrient in tobacco, just like all the other nightshades. So if you can't think of what a nightshade vegetable is, eggplants are one, red tomatoes are one, your bell peppers, zucchini, squashes, these are all included. Okay. So one thing all nightshade vegetables have in common are high doses of nicotine. So eggplant has nicotine, red tomatoes have nicotine, bell peppers have nicotine, tobacco has nicotine. All right. So nicotine, I just want you guys to know this. Nicotine by itself is 4 times more anti-inflammatory than any amount of inflammation it will ever create, which is similar to like prednisone and steroids. So it shuts off pain. Nicotine does. Nicotine shuts off pain.
Mm-hmm.
What's the number one reason why people go to a medical doctor? They're in pain of some sort. Okay. Inflammation. You'll hear it all the time. Your condition, your disease is caused by inflammation. Well, nicotine shuts off inflammation. That's what it does. 4 times more powerful than any amount of inflammation it'll ever create. Now, watch this. Tobacco, nicotine is in the nightshade vegetable family. Mm-hmm. Any rheumatologist, board certified, who gets certified to handle rheumatology conditions, which includes gouty arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, psoriatic arthritis. If you have arthritis or an autoimmune disease, you're going to be referred to a rheumatologist, and they're going to recommend prednisone, a steroid, methotrexate, chemotherapy, Plaquenil, which is hydroxychloroquine, a drug for parasites. They're going to recommend that to you for the rest of your life. And then they're going to say this to you. Now that you've been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease of pain in your joints, I also have to make you aware this is what they're told to tell their patients in order to pass the test to get their board certification. They're all told to tell their patients, you can't eat nightshade vegetables unless you want to have more pain. All right, so I just need you to know, the reason why they're told to say that is because the pharmaceutical industry writes the curriculum for all the medical doctors in school. And if you don't tell your patients that and they eat nightshade vegetables that has nicotine in it, you're going to shut off all the pain in the person's body. Why would they show up again to get prednisone, methotrexate, and Plaquenil refilled? They wouldn't, because they'd be eating the foods that reduce inflammation and pain. So they have to lie to you. No different than this lie. All cardiologists and all primary care doctors in the country and around the world will say this in unison. Salt is bad for you. You should not consume salt. Salt at any high amount will create increased risk of strokes, high blood pressure, and heart attacks. So to prevent strokes, high blood pressure, and heart attacks, we're going to tell the whole world to reduce their intake and limit their intake of salt. I repeat, in unison, 100% of them will tell you you should limit the amount of salt you consume to reduce your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and high blood pressure. All right. Any of those three scenarios, by the way. In fact, I was just on a plane coming from England, and a 90-year-old person had a stroke on the plane. And it was so exciting. Not a joke. Okay, I won't tell that story. It was amazing. Pilot comes on. Is there any doctors on board? We have a medical emergency in the back. I was the only doctor on the plane. I was so excited. I was like, oh, yeah, I was born for this moment. Set it down, go back there. It was just me and two nurses, and I actually had something that I gave this guy, and it turned him around within 5 minutes, which actually includes sodium, chloride, choline, and inositol that prevent worsening stroke symptoms. And the guy's all color came back, vomiting. Everything changed. Within 10 minutes, he was totally better. The flight attendants were blown away. The nurses were blown away. I just happened to have it on me. So I just want you to know, if you have a stroke, heart attack, or high blood pressure, in unison, your paramedics, your cardiologist, your primary care doctor, your emergency room attending doctor, in unison, if you just had a heart attack or your blood pressure's at stroke level or you just had a stroke, the very first thing they're going to do is inject you with a crap ton of salt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wait. They told you salt increases your risk of heart attack, strokes, and high blood pressure. Why is the first thing they do to 100% of you with a heart attack while laying on the ground, they're going to put you on a stretcher after getting you stable. They're going to stick a needle in your left arm and shove 9,000 milligrams of salt into your arm before you even talk to a doctor, ever, or do a blood panel of any kind. Before they do any diagnostic testing, they're going to inject you with 9,000 milligrams of salt, which is 4 times more than the FDA says you should ever have in 24 hours and 9 times more than the American Heart Association says you should ever have in more than 24 hours. Yet 100% of you will be given salt immediately with any of those conditions. And if you have high blood pressure at stroke level, the first thing they're going to do is give you 2 bags of salt called saline or fluids. That's 18,000 milligrams of salt. And within 30 minutes, your blood pressure is going to come back into the normal range because salt keeps your high blood pressure normal, prevents you from having strokes and heart attacks, and is a necessary electrolyte for the heart to beat normal, brain to function normal, and blood pressure to be normal. But they had to lie to you so they could bill your insurance for saltwater bags in favor of you eating it all day long, sprinkling on your food.
Crazy. They really got us. They really got us all twisted. It
should be really messed up. You should ask any doctor ever. Seriously, think about any hospital, walk down the hallway, imagine yourself looking at every single room, 100% of everybody, no matter why they're in there, pregnancy, cancer, fever, diarrhea, heat stroke, it doesn't matter. 100% of them are getting salt water the whole time. Yet you're told salt's bad for you. Yet the whole time you're in their facilities, they are giving you 9,000 milligrams of salt, which is 4 times what the FDA says in any 24-hour period you should eat, and 9 times more than the American Heart Association says any human being should ever consume. So why would they do that? Oh, well, how many of you know that the FDA signs the contract for all import of saltwater bags in all hospitals in America every 2 years? And how many of you know that it's $2.75 a bag that hospitals can be charged in America to buy those bags? Do you know what the average build one bag of salt water for a child is charged to your health insurance? $383 a bag. You know what the average adult is charged per bag? So if you had a stroke level high blood pressure, you're going to get 2 of these bags every day. It's $890 a bag for a $2.50 bag, $2.75 bag. So now you'll know why they tell you to not eat salt. Because they know they're going to create a deficiency of salt worldwide. You're going to get sick. You're going to develop high blood pressure, stroke, and heart attacks. And then they're going to give you the one thing they told you you should never have at a dose they can profit off of. This is why I'm adamant that people like you, Elisabeth, and your outfits and all of your trusted audiences need to know the truth about how the system works. You should be shocked to watch any of your loved ones have a heart attack, stroke, but as you tell them at dinner every day, you shouldn't eat that. It's too much salt in those potato chips, Mom. Oh, wait. Why do they pump you full of way more salt than any bag of Doritos, I don't know, potato chip Lay's, whatever, it doesn't matter. Why would they give you more salt than you'll ever eat in a given day anyway, whenever you're in a state of health emergency? Every health emergency. Anyway, for those of you who avoid salt, you should ask yourself, how come I'm taking these prescription drugs called Lasix, diuretics, and hydrochlorothiazide to lower your blood pressure? Did you know that hydrochlorothiazide is synthetic salt?
Really?
Yeah, to lower your blood pressure.
Oh my God. Okay.
Really? Anyway.
Wow.
You've been bamboozled. You've been lied to in reverence of profits over your health, personally.
Yeah. And many ways. And there's other ways that these systems are manipulating, because as you said, the salt bags, like $2, which turn into $800. It reminded me of a conference that I went to in DC, a disclosure conference, where they were showing the government contracts of how much a screw costs, right? How much a screw costs. Do you know how much that screw cost? $713. And then, one of those things, a screwdriver, or like one of those, I don't know. It was one of those tools. Guess how much that costs?
No idea.
$1,200. A washer. Guess how much they charge for a washer?
$100.
Yeah, it was like $230. Like the
government should be listed as contractors for Home Depot and Lowe's, and they'll even get a discount at Home Depot and Lowe's.
We are being bamboozled, manipulated, systemized, just so we can walk around in fear, so that we won't catch what they're really doing, so we can continue to pay them for things that we don't need. And I'm so glad that you and me together are taking this on the road, because I thought it was so important, Dr. Ardis, that people hear this type of information in person, so that we can do this without being censored, because like these platforms, they'll like wipe your whole channel down quick. So,
Oh yeah, the Australian government just locked down a video that had 110 million views in Australia, where I just showed the definition of the word virus from 400 years worth of books called Latin English dictionaries, and that bandit said it was too dangerous for the public safety of those in Australia. Oh, really? All I did was show definitions. It's amazing. So threatening. Oh, once you know the truth, that's the threat. Remember, those in power in government positions in Australia are bribed with pharmaceutical money. They cannot allow you to know the truth about what viruses are, because antivirals and vaccines that are for viruses primarily generate the most profits for the medical industry in every country around the world. They create more cancer, heart disease they profit off of for the rest of it ever, and then diabetes, like we mentioned earlier. So they cannot let you know the truth. This looks like a dartboard. I want you guys to focus on one thing. You're not gonna be able to read any of this probably at home unless it's on a 100-inch screen TV. But you've got 5 red balls in the middle, like the bullseye, and inside those balls are words. Inside those balls are the words snake, scorpion, spider, wasp, and bee, like honeybees. All right, the blue balls are companies, and the green balls are all the crops we eat around the world that have the venoms in red inside of their seeds. And now every part of the plant has the venoms of scorpions, spiders, snakes, bees, and wasps in the vegetable, fruit, leaf, stalk, bark of the plant. And that chart, I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see it. This comes from EFB Bioeconomy Journal, dated November 2021. Applications of venom biodiversity in agriculture. How many of you knew they were even using venom to grow your food? All right, so now we're going to zoom in. Just look at the red balls. Now you should be able to see them. You'll see the top one says wasp, then around the horn, scorpion, bee, spider, and snakes. That's venoms. They infuse these into the seeds of all the crops in green. So let's start bottom left and work our way around the horn. Melons, cabbage, soybean, lettuce, garden beans, celery, rice, stevia. Let's keep going around. More lettuce, potatoes, which I love. If you follow the lines from potato down to the companies that own it, even Frito-Lay is the third blue ball going down into the left. The company that owns potatoes laced with venoms of those 5 venomous creatures. Amazing. Wheat, cotton, peppers, tomatoes, beans. We'll keep going. Corn, pea, watermelons, radishes, squashes, cucumbers, tobacco, sweet corn, canola oil, sunflower, and melons. We're back around the horn. These are all some of the plants that now these companies in blue all own the patents on of seeds that are infused with venom to grow in the crops. And now let's discuss the highlights of this research study. Let's start with the first bullet point for all of you at home going, what in the world is Dr. Ardis and Elisabeth Carson talking about? All right, this is the highlights from this 2021 research study. Scorpions, wasp, and snake venom are being increasingly reported in patents in agriculture. Giant agricultural biotech companies like Monsanto, who owns Roundup and glyphosate, are the main assignees of these patents. So these crops with these genetically modified seeds that have venom from these 5 creatures in the seed to grow venom into the plants, they say allows the plant to now be resistant to bugs. Read the third bullet point. I do not have it underlined. Venom biodiversity is being used mainly to develop insect-resistant new crop varieties and pesticides. So they say now, if the whole plant can have venom in every part of it, if a locust lands on there and eats a leaf, there'll be venom in the leaf and the actual locust will die because scorpion and snakes hunt these insects and kill them. And then let's look at the fifth bullet point there, or fourth bullet point. Commodities like soybean, corn, cotton, rice, and wheat are the leading in new crop varieties. Now, everybody, look at okay, this is my favorite statement from the whole flipping research study. Agriculture, environment, and society are benefiting from this use of venom, biodiversity, and biotechnology. Wait, hold up. You and I are a part of society. I'd like to know, how is it that society is benefiting from venom being in our food, but yet you never told us? Don't you think you would tell people? I mean, every time there's a new iPhone that has some new feature, they tell you in commercials, hey, this is going to be much easier to use this AI Gemini of Google and Apple and blah. Okay, they tell you this is going to benefit your whole life. How come no one has ever told you but me and Elisabeth Carson that your food supply is now laced with venoms from snakes, scorpions, wasps, bees, and spiders? Why? Why aren't they telling you? Have y'all seen commercials about this? Has Frito-Lay put in commercials now about their new Doritos that are laced with corn from venom of snakes?
It's crazy.
And all of society is benefiting from it. If they're not telling you, it's obviously not just beneficial. I think they would tell you.
Right.
All right. So the results indicate, as they do a research study here to look at all the venoms being put into patents for agriculture and pesticides, the results indicate an increasing frequency in patents related to animal venoms being used in agriculture. They list several right after that. Scorpion, snake, and wasp appear most frequently. The benefits of using natural venoms in insect-resistant plant varieties and biopesticides are pertinent to agriculture, the environment, and human health, Elisabeth Carson. Hold on. Anybody at home ever been like this? You know what? I have a really sickly kid. If I could just get more animal venoms into them, they would be healthier.
Man.
Does anybody really believe this bull crap that venoms improve human health? Seriously, all of us have been programmed by God that when you see a deadly venomous creature, even as a toddler, you run.
Yeah.
It is not good for you. It's dangerous for you. All right, so let's read some of this. In nature, venom serves species to attack enemies, prey, and for self-defense. Scorpions, snakes, and spiders are among the venomous animal species whose purified poisons are widely used, especially for medical purposes and for the development of antibodies detected or dedicated to the treatment of bites of these creatures. Okay, I can go with the antivenom thing. However, lisinopril, a high blood pressure drug, is made from the venom of the Jaracus viper in Brazil to lower your blood pressure. Did you know that? Ozempic and Wegovy are Gila monster lizard venom from a deadly lizard in the deserts of the United States, and that's a drug. That's medicine. Such features have been explored for developing new biocompounds with applications in several areas, such as pharmaceuticals and agriculture. Okay, now I want to stop there and take you to the next phase here, okay? Let's just show you how dark this gets. I want to introduce you to this company. Can you see the screen, Elisabeth?
Mm-hmm.
This is called Venom Tech. Now, Venom Tech is a company in England, in London. And can you guess what they produce? I mean, the name is Venom Tech.
Venom Tech.
All right, here we go. You ready? All right.
Vaccines.
Fast track your research effectively and successfully with our targeted discovery arrays. And they have 3 categories in which they produce venoms from various creatures And they show you the 3 categories all venoms are being used in. Drug discovery, which includes drugs and vaccines, cosmetics, they put venoms in, and then crop protection. This is a company, just one of many, that are producing venoms for drug discovery, cosmetics, and crops. Why are venoms used in cosmetics? How soluble are venoms? And they tell you it's soluble in water. Can venom peptides be made into drugs? Yes, there are venom peptides already on the market. For example, Byetta, which is actually a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic and Wegovy, Equistatin, a cholesterol drug, and Prialt, a pain drug, are already on the market made from venoms of creatures. Venoms have also been used in the discovery of other drugs, such as angiotensin-converting enzyme, ACE inhibitors like lisinopril I just mentioned earlier, like captopril. Captopril is the generic name of lisinopril. And peptonematics, like whatever that is, eptifibatide. These are drugs made from venoms. Then they dive into all kinds of diseases that venoms are turned into drugs, and this company makes them. This is from their website. And then why are venoms useful in crop protection? And they explain why they're putting venoms in the seeds of crops, genetically modifying them, and how it protects them from insects. Well, I'd like to ask you, how many of you think Monsanto has grown crops in a lab that bugs can eat and die, and then they fed those same plants to humans to see how it impacts you when you swallow the venom yourself? Zero. They haven't done any of it. Then they dive into cosmetics and venom peptides. I actually have some in my room right now in my podcast studio of cone snail venom and anti-wrinkle creams. Amazing. So then they say, what is the composition of Venom Tech's library of venoms? They say approximately 30% are from snakes, 30% are from tarantulas, 10% are from true spiders, 20% of the venoms are from scorpions, 10% from others like jellyfish and insects. How many venoms are in the Venom Tech library? Over 200, which are then fractioned into 20,000 different molecules that can be added to drugs. So here's their venom library, and I just want to show y'all. These are spider venoms. Look at all the spider venoms they create at Venom Tech to turn into drugs, vaccines, cosmetics, and agriculture. That's all the spider venoms they produce there. And then what about king cobra venom type snakes called elapids? These are all the venoms that they're using to turn into drugs, vaccines, cosmetics, and agriculture. How about scorpions? These are all the scorpion venoms they produce at Venom Tech for your drugs, vaccines, cosmetics, and agriculture. You can't get away from it. Here's some deadly insects. There's their venoms that they manufacture. How about vipers that they turn into ACE inhibitor drugs for high blood pressure? There's a list of all the viper venoms that they turn into drugs, cosmetics, vaccines, agriculture. And then these guys are the ones they're turning into Ozempic and Wegovy. Those venoms. And then they dive into, on this website, how they're using venom from a king cobra to treat pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
This is amazing. All right. So these are just different research strategies. Now they're targeting breast cancer with animal venoms. Yeah, they're using venoms all over the world. You just don't know it. Developing a compound library from cobra venom and the results. Cytotoxicity screening against colorectal cancer cells. Now Venom Tech is looking at king cobra venom for colon cancer. And then they're looking for Staph aureus bacteria. Does venoms work as an antibiotic against bacterial infections? You don't need antibiotics anymore. You just need venom, Elisabeth Carson. If it doesn't kill the bacteria, it's at least going to kill you. And then, the bacteria is going to have to die at some point. And these are the 3 venoms they're looking at. Cobra, this beautiful snake, copperhead, and then tarantula venoms for antibiotics.
Those are all like deadly. Really?
Yes, very deadly. So anyway, I just want you guys to see they're using venoms all over the world in the ways in which they are using them. And I just wanted you to see this is a major, major issue that I'm very concerned about. And it explains a lot of the reasons why people have diseases. If these venoms are introduced into your body through drugs, vaccines, cosmetics, or your food, the human body does not produce detoxing elements to venom. And it is published by all medical research that even if you got bit by a scorpion, swallowed scorpion venom, no matter, or spider venom, snake venom, it will stay in the human body for 12.7 years, causing wreaked havoc, symptoms, and chronic diseases that within that 12-year window of time, You're going to go to your medical doctor complaining of any symptoms. If the venom ends up in your joints, you're going to develop inflammatory conditions. They're going to put you on prednisone for life. If it ends up in your pancreas, you're going to develop diabetes. Now you're on insulin for life, metformin, glucophage, Ozempic, whatever. If it ends up in your adrenals, you're going to become fat because your cortisol is going to go out the roof. You're going to gain weight. You're going to be put on Ozempic for life. And if it ends up in your brain, you're going to develop Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS that they're going to drug you for life. If it ends up in your kidneys, you're going to develop high blood pressure and chronic kidney disease and end up on dialysis that they're going to profit from life. And you're going to get sick in those 12 years, and it's plenty of time for you to show up eventually with nothing else working. And this is why I wrote my Amazon best-selling book worldwide, Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies, with all the antidotes to the many venoms I just showed you that are being produced around the world.
Yes. And guys, that will be inside of your gift bag if you join us in person, which we will be uncensored for the first time. Dallas, May 16th. Then we're in Vegas, August 8th, I believe. And then Miami in December. So yes, you guys if you come in person, you get one of his books for free inside of your gift bag, which has all of the stuff that you need to really be healthy out here and not be fake healthy,
There will also be multiple nutritional supplements and formulations in those gift bags, along with a signed copy of my book for everybody that attends.
Yes. It's so worth it. And I'm so excited to do this with you, Dr. Ardis. Like I said, I have so much respect for you because you don't care. You literally and I'm the same way. So let's go. Let's freaking go.
Let's save lives and let's protect lives around the world because they don't have the intention to do that. It appears very obvious.
Yes. So I'm so honored to be doing this with you, Dr. Ardis. And guys, the link is in the description. Make sure you grab your tickets. We are not rerunning this. This will not be replayed. So
recorded. This is going to be live and then it's over.
Yes, exactly.
For like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Of uncensored material. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right, Dr. Ardis. Well, let me go make some clips.
Time to make some reels, make them public, make them viral. It's going to be amazing.
Go. All right. Sounds good, guys. And this was another episode of me and Dr. Ardis. And, we'll be doing this in person. So join us, guys.
It's going to be amazing.
It is. Peace.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead. Love unlimited, feel unlimited.
Before we wrap, if you're done living in loop mode, the addictions, the emotional swings, the stuck seasons, start with a tool that actually shifts your state. Go to unlimitedmeditationpack.com and download the free pack I created. It's 5 targeted meditations with theta entrainment frequencies that drop you into the zone where real subconscious reprogramming happens. These sessions calm your system, clear the old patterns, and open you up to better health, better connections, more clarity, and a life that finally moves. Start there. unlimitedmeditationpack.com.